everyone, and welcome to Connections for Life. I'm Jar Jar Binks.
No, you're not.
You can't really hear that.
No, I can't. That was not.
I'm leaving it on. I'm Chad Kuva.
I'm Joe Surratt, and I'm deeply
I was
ashamed.
much cuter. I was much cuter with that on.
Yeah.
That was a vast improvement. So with that said, welcome back from our spring break that we gave you guys, a week away from our faces, our voices, and all the annoying things we do every week that you tune in to watch. So
I'll bet you everybody was really upset.
Yeah. Not one person said anything.
So weird. We reached out.
Yeah.
Not one person.
Well, it was some fun in the sun and a little bit of relaxation. So it's good to be back. Good to be back on the grind here. Let's get right to it. Chad, who do we have joining us today?
Oh man, probably I think we say it a lot. One of my favorite guests, but
No, you say it a lot.
I probably do. Bill Schutt, that he used to be the owner of MatCore. Just an amazing guy. He's pretty much a pioneer in the corrosion world. He graduated from Drexel. He had 8 patents on the products that he produced in MatCore. I think his biggest one being a deep anode system. He talks about it a little bit in this, but he's also like a serial entrepreneur. You're telling the girls. I know you're giving him the.
So I started mocking him by doing it like
I know.
Oh, hey, wait, I want to do this though.
You look cute. So Bill's also a serial entrepreneur, but he's also a mentor to multiple entrepreneurs.
Including
I
us
say
now.
that correctly.
He's actually a mentor to the show now.
He was absolutely awesome to talk to and just so much fun. And I can't really say anything more. Joe was enamored. I think a little bit of him too. He was cool.
Yeah, I just wanted first to give a shout out. Last Wednesday was my daughter Callie's 7th birthday. So I know she watches the show because she comments on her YouTube page. So Bugsy, I just wanted you to see this.
Daddy loves you.
Happy birthday, Cal. You could have got him a better hat.
She got that from school. But no, Bill's great. I was actually like, I didn't know anything about Bill going into this. I didn't know his background. I didn't know really anything more than the fact that he used to be the owner of MatCore, and just like a really awesome, inspiring guy. Like the things that he's done and the places that he's been to and what he's done with his professional career and what he's done post-retirement. Just a really, really interesting guy. So I don't know, let's chat at him, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Bill. For life, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hey, Bill, how are you?
What's going on?
Not too bad.
Good.
Good. Hey, so we're just going to kind of start off. I say this all the time, like we start off everybody, but you've been with the industry in the corrosion industry a long time. Just kind of, how did you get your start? How'd you end up doing what you do?
Other than saying I walked out of school, went the wrong way, I left Drexel University engineering and business degree, and went and talked in an interview with a company called Henkels & McCoy, and were hired on there as a young engineer and started really going all over the country testing pipelines, gas systems, did a lot of gas systems in the early days, and learned the corrosion field that way. So that was a bit ago, and then I got involved with more and more projects and businesses at Henkels & McCoy, and then that's where I started MatCore. So
I believe that you never intended to get into the corrosion industry. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. I tell you, when I was in school, I was doing, I did engineering and business, and then was accepted to go to law school and do all of that. But when I got out of Drexel, and I talked to the Henkels & McCoy people, I said, look, I don't want to do electrical engineering or any chemical stuff. I don't like it. Don't worry about it. All employers tell you that.
Yeah, just come on.
The next thing you know, you're doing electrochemical engineering. Now, the problem was that you were doing it like maybe 1,500 miles away from home. So if you quit, you got to walk back. And so you got to keep doing it. And so that's the way that they worked it, So you were out there all over the country, all over the world, but got to learn it, like it, to the point now I have 7 patents in electrochemical engineering. It's just nuts the way things go. So.
That's wild. Well, that actually kind of brings us into the next question we have on here. man, you were a pioneer in the corrosion world. I've heard your name since, as scary as it is, I've been doing this like 20 years, but I've certainly heard your name through those 20 years as a pioneer. And I know you actually created and patented some of the products that MatCore still uses, I believe. What are one or two of those ones that really stand out to you that maybe you had the most fun doing, or that really made the most impact on the industry?
Well, yes, they're using MatCore, still using a lot of the products, and they became standards, which I'm very happy about. That's nice to see. You can invent something, but if nobody uses it, it doesn't mean very much.
That's like all my inventions.
Besides the problems with your inventions, and what happened is,
I like him.
So the one that's done I think probably the best is the deep anode system, because it went from people putting individual anode rods in the ground and doing things to a simple system that went in 20 minutes, not 2 days. And it took a while for it to catch on, but it did, and it's done quite well. And there's been spin-offs on it. But some of the things that were fun in a way were when the clients would come to us and say, "Oh, can you do this? We have this problem." And then to solve it always is fun. We developed a system that was internal in pipelines, mostly for water lines to stop internal corrosion, and it was compressed current. And the first one of those went over into Scandinavia. And, the second one also went over there. So it was interesting to do things like that. And that's the great fun, is solving somebody's problem. And at the end of the day, we ended up with a lot of products and patented them. So
that's awesome.
That's cool. I think I was going to kind of toss in there that, you've traveled a lot. I know that you've been to, we talked about it earlier, a whole bunch of countries. You've been on TV, magazines.
Hannity, I think.
Hannity, yeah, you're kind of like, you're a big shot. I didn't realize that when we started talking to you. I looked you up after our first conversation. I was impressed. It's pretty neat stuff.
Who's on your Rotten Tomatoes page?
Yeah, IMDb. So if I just wanted to know, like, how was that? If you could talk about your experiences. I know you've talked about a couple overseas stories that you had. I just thought maybe that people would like to hear some of that, because it seems pretty cool. A lot of us don't get to do that.
It was intriguing to us, so.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is, and way back when, and even I think today, the U.S. engineering is highly respected around the world. And in the corrosion industry, for many years, we were looked at as the leader, and I suspect still are. And so we would get these inquiries and stuff. And I always felt that we needed to have business not just in the United States, because if the economy is bad in the United States, we need this other business. So we had like a lot of business in South America, and of course the Middle East, we had business. And in China, we had fellows going over there wearing these Arctic suits because they were putting pipelines in and all. One of the, it was interesting anyhow, I was in Korea, and we did a lot of oil and gas business there, but we also were doing some other business. And I was over there with a couple of engineering companies that were working with us. We were doing it in cooperation with each other. And we had the meeting with the government. We're going to get this big contract. Well, the next morning I picked up a paper in Seoul, Korea. And out of all of the Korean language and words, I could read one word. It was MatCore. And it turned out that somebody was very unhappy because they thought we were going to take business away from the local firms. And so it goes on and on and on. And we went to the follow-up meeting with the government, and from the look on their faces, I knew that contract was not going to happen. So
do you still have the newspaper frame somewhere?
No, I don't have that. Yeah.
So the only thing you could read was MatCore. That's great.
We had somebody that was so excited we're going to do it. It wasn't with our company. They went and they blabbed it out to everyone. So, but it's been interesting. We've done work and been in Russia, in Moscow, and South. Awesome. Yeah, we get to go places, they don't bring the pipeline into your office, as you know. So we all over the world, a lot of fun, actually.
That's awesome.
What was your favorite place you think that you spent time?
Oh, I enjoy people all over the world, so it's all fun. I had enjoyed being in, we were in Abu Dhabi for several years, and most enjoyable there with the people. It's a place where you're going to live. I love South Africa, south of France, and Chile. Chile, just very, very nice.
It's awesome.
But it's really great. I mean, I've been in 27 countries, and our folks have been all over the world. So that's, you really get something from it.
Ooh, that intrigues me because I'm a man who thinks with his stomach, and I like to travel with our job and eat at different places and all of that. So in your 27 countries, I have to ask, did you pick up a meal or a different type of food that you never really ate before, or that you fell in love with, that was just something that's unique?
Or that was just awful?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like, what not
the answer is yes to all of that. It's like I said to somebody that was going into one of the Asian countries for us, I said, do you like dogs? Oh yeah, good, that'll work out. And but no, I like the food every place you get, and you do have to eat it. And
yes, you do, or it's disrespectful.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't eat their culture.
And they're not going to tell you what it is. I think when I was a young engineer down south, they like to pick on us Yankees. And so this pipeline crew were working on a pipeline, and they thought it was great just to feed me these hot peppers, that like to cheer up. Yeah, we got the young boys, but I obviously paid them back a little later on.
Just switching back to the previous question, I just wanted to talk about your experience and how you ended up being on a national TV news network, and what kind of precipitated that.
Yeah, I have been on television for different things in the past, but when the bridge collapsed out in Minnesota, we were, and I've been heavily involved with bridge corrosion or reinforced concrete corrosion. So they came to me and to one of our marketing firms, and asked me to go on and be the so-called expert on it. So I got to do that, everything from Good Morning America on, and I had been in Time magazine for our pipeline work. And so it was interesting to do that and to listen to and to be interviewed. I found a lot of times that they want you to say something that was, shocking, drastic, or negative towards the, say, pipeline industry when I was doing the pipeline ones and all. And I just wasn't going to play that game. We have a hard enough time in this industry now with some publicity. So it was interesting doing all that. We got, I got to do a lot of it.
And probably meet some really awesome people too, right?
Pardon?
Meet some really cool people too, I assume.
Oh, you do indeed. And then, as I think we mentioned before, and I'll mention his name, Jeff Davis, who's well known and was president of National Association of Corrosion Engineers just a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And he was in Guam on vacation, and he thought he'd get a break from all of it. And he said he looked up and saw my face on the TV, Fox News or something, drove him nuts.
I love that.
But any of us that do that, it helps the industry. It helps bring recognition to the care and concern and the rules and laws that we all have to abide by, that so protects everybody from what they're worried about. So,
and I think that's amazing. It kind of goes into, you've been doing this for a long time. So in your journey through all of this, what have you seen change the most? And I think it might go right back with what you were just talking about at the end there. There's had to be a ton of change. So what is some of it that you've seen are the most impactful?
Well, in this industry and in the businesses such as we saw, they were what I would call mom and pops in a way, and then they become much more corporate. You take Macor right now as part of a multi-billion-dollar operation, and the other companies are also, but you have to get much more sophisticated, I think much more worldly. And if people will listen to the younger people, they'll learn about what's happening in social media, but even more than social media. I mean, we'll just say Bitcoin and all that other, as all of that changes and it becomes a worldwide base of investors, owners, engineers, technicians, and everything, I think people better look to the future and see what changes are and do it fast.
Kid.
Yeah, I want to talk about just really quickly. We've mentioned MatCore a few times, and I know that you I guess sold the company a few years back. I just wanted to kind of talk. Was it 5 years, Chad?
It was
Chad's
five,
giving
right
me
around
five.
five.
I
Something
didn't
like
I
that,
didn't
yeah.
think you
I
were
wasn't
saying
just
hi.
waving. I actually had good info.
I just wanted to talk about that, like your decision to get out of that world. And I know you've moved on to some other things that we'll talk about, but what was kind of the precipice, or what was the reason for you to say, okay, I think that's it, and I'm gonna want to move on to some other things?
Well, as you know, we talked about, I mentor a lot of businesses, and when you start a business or in a business, you have to know what the exit is and what's the exit strategy. So Macor started, obviously like any business, it was much smaller, but as it grew and grew, it got to a point where it became very corporate. When they started hiring people there and they had job titles, I wasn't sure what they did. I thought, well, this is really interesting. Now I'm an entrepreneur and I don't like meetings and stuff. So I brought in a president and we built a very strong management staff there. And it's just time you roll on and do something else. I'm heavily involved with a lot of nonprofits, universities and stuff like that. So it was just time, and you know that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of led us perfectly into that next question. You mentioned the amount of mentoring you do for different entrepreneurs of all ages and whatnot, but which I think is personally one of my favorite things in life. It's literally, I feel like you should have to, you must have mentors at all aspects of life, at different, in your personal, your professional, your spiritual, all aspects of your life. You need a mentor, right? But could you tell us maybe one of your favorite businesses so far that you've been a mentor to, or a person, if you want to reference them and throw them out there,
Well, I've been fortunate, and I started mentoring quite a while ago. And you get more out of mentoring, and you learn more. I've learned more about business from mentoring. I mentor from kids trying to go to college and even starting a business through people 80 some years old with large businesses. And I've done a little bit in the corrosion industry, not cathodic protection, but that's done as a profession there. So I always admire when I see people who work against the odds and work hard and hang in there. You met Dana Bodke, who has Runmark, and she hung in there and worked at it and built that business. It wasn't always easy, so I admire that. I have a young man who was at Drexel, and he believed in his business, and it was a good idea. So he got nighttime jobs and did everything else so he could keep doing it to build it. So when you see that and you get the satisfaction of seeing them succeed or do well, then you really get something out of it. So it's been fun. I mean, I have people from guy who was bringing in tea that look like hockey, like horse droppings, and then they break it all up and they sell this off as exotic tea, to somebody doing solar power for Bitcoin mining. And,
You mentioned that one the other day. That's
forestry that can hear, a gunshot and report it and stuff. It goes on, and to people with a company with robots and stuff. I just enjoy it, and you learn so much from it.
unreal.
Well,
Yes,
with that
sir.
being said, I think that the future has there's a lot of things in cool technology that will exist today that didn't 5 years ago, and I'm assuming in another 5 years we're going to be like, can you remember when? Like these things right here, right? Who doesn't have a cell phone? And 10, 15 years ago it was kind of like a weird thing maybe to have everybody having these little computers in their hands. For our industry, Bill, you've been here a long time and you've been working in the industry a long time. What do you think that future looks like? If you take your crystal ball, what are we doing in 5 years from now that we're not today?
I think the thing people have to look at and realize that it's going to be very difficult to keep up with the changes. Now, our industry in the past hasn't moved as fast as some others, and they're slow to accept change. And one of the reasons is, we're dealing with safety, and we're dealing with a lot of, stuff that can blow up. So you have to be a little bit careful.
Sure.
But the base of knowledge gets bigger. As it gets bigger, then you have an exponential expansion of new things. And I think that's going to be the hard part as we go. So in this industry, as in others, so you look at a couple paths that will change. One is the investor path and who's owning these operations. So that's on the financial side. On the technical side, I think I'm seeing more and more usable technology coming in from other countries other than the United States.
Sure.
And so they're right now, a lot of those are at a level that, they got micro photographs of metal and stuff that we don't understand, but it'll drop down. One of the first countries to ever really get involved with corrosion control and write the guidebook to it was this old Soviet Union, Russia.
Really?
And it was a guidebook that
You need to take
I
that.
used.
That's awesome.
Guidebook
That
that I
happens
use,
to somebody else
but-
besides me.
But they couldn't do it practically. So I think as we see in this industry, people better be alert and better be aware. And you really do need to use the youth and the burgeoning technology that's coming out of them. It's going to be a dramatic change, I think, within 5 years.
Yeah. Hey, one other question you just mentioned about Russia being the first. Any reason why they were kind of out of the gate with that, or just out of curiosity?
Well, it happened in Russia, and we're fortunate enough to have worked there, is that they had a big separation between the scientific community and the practical community. Part of it was economic. So there was a Professor Tomashov who wrote, one of the first books on it. And that's where I learned it was all basic theory. But it never crossed over to the practical side. And so they had these silos of knowledge built. And we have that in some parts of the United States. We have a silo of knowledge that doesn't share it with somebody else.
Sure.
If you start breaking down those silos and even break them down inside of a gas company or other companies,
Any company.
it'll make a big difference.
Sure.
You can go talk to the research department in the gas company. Is it translating and going out to the field? Is that happening in other operations? And it's not. When it does, that'll make a change.
Communications and connections, right?
Yes, sir.
Honestly. Hey, Bill, I just want to say thank you. I could talk to you for probably another half a
Same.
day easily. I have so many more questions for you, but I know that our audience tends to get a little grumpy if we go too long. So I just want to say personally, thank you. I think it's awesome, the things that you've done. I think it's amazing for the people that maybe don't know you as intimately as some other people that look you up online and see some of the awesome things that you've been a part of and that you've done in your career. Just one of my favorite people to talk to, and we haven't known you that long. So I just I really appreciate being on here. We thank you for coming on. I know we're not Hannity or Good Morning America. Hopefully someday, we'll keep
Much better, much better.
Thank you. We didn't ask you to push an agenda, so at least we got that going for us. But
But it's written right here. It's what you said.
hey, don't tell it. Come on, that's Chad, kill the recording. No, but in all sincerity, thank you, Bill. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to hopefully getting out and maybe being able to share a meal with you someday and hearing some more about those experiences that you've had.
It's awesome.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
Bill, we do really appreciate you joining us on the show and the credibility that you bring with yourself and everything. But I think I speak for all of us when we say thank you for the feedback that you gave us the other day leading up to the stuff. That kind of mentorship is exactly what the world needs. And for that as well, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Absolutely. Great point.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for joining us today. And we'll talk to you real soon again.
Thanks, Bill.
Great interview, as I say, literally every week, but tremendous. I enjoyed it immensely. And we really, really thank you for joining us on the show here. Chad, cue up some heartfelt sentiment while Joe swallows his ginger ale.
I think we kind of said it before, but Bill was just he really was awesome. I'm going to say one of the things that I thought was most impactful, and I don't think it was recorded, and I actually just said it to you guys in between the things, was, just in talking to Bill, one of the things that we were talking about is he was talking about how people were doing things different in the pandemic and stuff like that. And he brought up a local church, he said, and he was talking about how they were starting to gather members from all over the world because they're doing things online. But that wasn't the point. The point was he was like, yeah, we do. My wife and I do a lot for this local church, but we don't go to church there.
Yeah.
And immediately I went, whoa, wait a minute. You don't go to church there? He goes, no, it supports the community. Like, it helps the community. And I was like, wow, that's like next level. That's next level thinking, really. I mean,
Selfless.
yeah, very, very selfless. It was awesome.
Yeah, I just want to add, I think I was probably pretty annoying after we taped Bill because I asked him questions for about an hour.
Yeah, I hung up.
Like, yeah, just
So
a
did I.
I think it was just me and Bill at the end. Just a really, really unique guy. I mean, a lot of perspective. You know, he's for a gentleman that's, you know, older and retired. I mean, talking about being with it and understanding like, you know, social media marketing and you know, mentoring and what he does for people from all different groups and classes. You know, from kids that are just coming out of college with businesses to older folks that are older.
To mining Bitcoin, like
Mining Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, it's just really unique guy. So, I don't know. Stay tuned. I'd like to talk to Bill more. I think there's a lot of good stuff to get out of him. I'd like to talk to him more about his international travels and what he did with what was it, the Today Show or Good Morning America.
yeah, awesome stuff. I want to talk to his Bitcoin miner. Like, I'd like
Yeah, you just
him
want
on
to
the
figure
show.
out how to do
Just-
it
yeah,
yourself.
and not. Oh, I don't want to figure out how to do it.
So with that being said, Bill, thank you. I really appreciated the conversation and getting to know you. And a special shout out to Dana Badke, because without Dana, we wouldn't have been able to get to know Bill. So all in all, actions. Right.
So with that said, I've got a couple little cool natural gas industry updates, but I'm gonna start my way through this one as I try to read it. All right, guys. So essentially, based off of the U.S. Energy Information Administration, natural gas pipeline projects increase U.S. transportation capacity by more than we can imagine to count. Basically, up in the Saginaw Trail pipeline, it entered into service in November 2020, and it replaced an expanded natural gas pipeline that was previously there and added another 610 million interstate in capacity. Wow. Yeah. And then Buckeye Express project, one near and dear to your heart, probably, Chad. Columbia Gas Transmissions began operations in 2020, and that one increased revenue by 709 million. All right. Permian Highway Pipeline. What is he? Oh, he's doing questions.
Question mark. I thought it was a good
Permian
background.
Highway Pipeline brought in another 430-mile pipeline, and that's going to be in West Texas. And then there's another one that I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of. It's in the Delaware Basin. All right. And that's going to add another 20 natural gas processing sites. So there's
that's unreal.
Stuff that's like going boom in the industry as of late. So it's great. Not boom in a bad way, but boom.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with the boom.
Gotta be careful with boom and gas. And yeah. So, Chad, what time is it?
I think it is our
I don't know.
That's right.
The interactive ones are so like.
I know, that's why I do it to you, because I know you can't take it.
I can't. I like stare at them. Like
I was gonna change it to this one, but I thought it might be too much.
We're riding on
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Based on what you just said, I got two things, but one of them kind of pairs with that unintentionally, by the way.
No planning in advance for us here, folks.
There never is. Never. But I found this one interesting. So due to replacement and new construction, the average age of gas main pipelines increased by only 2 years since 2004. So with all of the pipeline work where people are going out and replacing pipelines, putting in plastic, putting in new mains and stuff like that, with all the expansion of gas networks we all know of, the average life of a gas main in the United States in 2004 was 33 and a half years, and in 2019 was 35 and a half years. So I found that really crazy. Like that, even though we've put in so much more mileage, we've expanded, we've also replaced a lot of that old infrastructure. So I don't know, that was cool. But here's another cool one. I thought you guys would like a little bit more.
Is this one a quiz? I like the quiz ones.
Sure, I can
Not
quiz.
Quizzes, Chad. We didn't study for your guess.
So as we all know, natural gas is reliable, right? Everybody.
12. Oh, sorry. Thought it was quite answer time. My bad. Go ahead.
Can you mute him? Turn him off.
Got it.
So like I said, gas is reliable. We know that. Everybody, it's not. You've heard it before. So unplanned outages. Finish this sentence. Affect about 1 in blank natural gas customers per year.
12. It was a number. You go first, Ed.
Unplanned outages affect 1 in every 3,800.
That's pretty high. Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna go 1250.
It's actually a little bit high. I guess higher than that. It's technically lower, but you get what I'm saying. It's 1 in 800.
800.
That's higher.
But check this out.
Low.
By comparison, electric distribution systems have an average of 1 outage per year per customer. So it's 1 to 1.
Really?
Whoa.
Wow.
1 in 800 to 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty wild.
Think
We had
about
a
that.
power outage here
There you are. There's your one.
but I
Well-
had gas.
Right. So
Oh.
I just thought that was really like talk about like sustainable and we had talked to Dave Shriver, with
Yeah.
Aiden a couple weeks back and talking about what happened in Texas and with his public utilities or municipal utilities. I thought that was crazy. Like,
That's crazy.
1 in 800 on average outages per year versus 1 in 1 per year.
That is
And-
really crazy.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was crazy too. So I don't know. I just thought those were kind of cool facts.
That's
I think
awesome.
the show is making me fall in love more with natural gas each week, honestly, just because of these gas facts. I'm being like totally serious in a sarcastic
You gonna
way.
marry it?
It's a good thing you're in the industry.
Yeah. But that was the thing. Like, I didn't get in the industry to get in the industry. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm learning more and more about it. Like, I find myself talking and discussing it in conversations outside of
I did it the other day.
people in the
Did
industry.
you
So, like,
did you just say you didn't get in the industry to get in the industry?
I know what he meant.
you know what
He didn't
yeah,
get in the industry to become like a gas
that's what he
advocate.
gets. He got muted now too, Chad. Don't worry about it. But seriously, like, I found myself in a conversation, I think, with somebody the other day, and I was spewing off Joe gas facts where I was like, did you know that this,
Well, I think-
haven't
I
changed
think-
consumption and we're still using the exact same amount we did in 1981, but we're just so much more efficient at it. And yeah.
I think the cool thing is like Dan, Dan Pajak, our president, like, I think it's cool to be, I don't know how to put this. There's so much like misinformation and there's so many people that have like their opinion about one thing or the other. I just think it's cool to be able to have factual information,
Yeah.
to be able to say, I understand where you're coming from, but do you also realize, because I feel like a lot of the rock throwing comes against fossil fuels without literally any factual data.
I agree with that. as
So I
well.
took-
It's-
I
it's
took this-
parts.
course on leadership one time. It's called Crucial Conversations. All right. And the whole like press, but it's a bestseller book in the world and everything. But this course was based on it. And the whole precipice of it came down to this one question. When you're going to have a tough conversation with somebody, look at everything through the lens of, is that a fact or is that a story?
Mhm.
All right. Somebody's going to come to you and say, natural gas is bad. Is that a fact or is that a story? All right.
Well, I think Bill Cantrella in his gas
Gas champions.
champions course says that, it's like creating that elevator speech to be able to say, not I disagree with you or your point is wrong, but let me explain to you why mine is right or why my
I really,
based around this.
what's amazing about that, guys, is I think if you can incorporate that in your everyday lives, it'll change how every conversation goes with us. It's really hard to do.
It is really
Right.
hard to do and whatnot, but no. All right. I think we should
Keep it
let
in.
these folks go now. All
No, I
right.
want to talk for 10 more minutes.
What are you making up for last week? Just taking
Yeah.
their time from them?
Hey, I did want to say, last thing before we go, I wanted to say, good news. We were able to finally get approved for LinkedIn Live. So we're able to do live shows now. We're working on getting our podcast on the Apple platform. So there's going to be those things coming along. But just stay tuned.
Forum? How about the forum, Joe?
Oh, why don't you talk about that, Mr. Chad?
Teddy, did you hear about the forum? We didn't really, is it really ready to go yet?
Yeah, it's live. It's active.
Is it going? So on the Connections for Life webpage, which is connections-for-life.com, that we've implemented a natural gas forum. We're going to have different topics on pretty much everything from operations to corrosion to maintenance to gas facts like we talked about. So join.
It
It'll be
was
fun.
just put out there to be like, I mean, there's nothing in our industry right now where you can go and just ask questions of peers and other people that are in the industry.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, why don't we just create it? We have the space on the webpage. Let's try it. So for those of you that would like, go on there, start an account, ask whatever you want. We hope to, we're going to market this a little bit more, add more members. And
You can make fun of Joe too. That's cool.
Yeah, do whatever you like.
You make fun of Joe. That's great.
you don't comment on our stuff here. So if you'd like to go over there and comment on it, that's fine.
I'm also a sucker for punishment. I'm getting, made fun of,
Well, but you're just such a good punching bag.
Valid point. Valid point.
Everybody has a role, guys.
Everybody has a role.
Everybody
All right, guys. My role in now is to shut you two up and wrap up the show. So thank you so much for joining us this week, guys. Remember to click, like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. If I offer money, I know you'll comment now. So without further ado, I'm not doing that again. Have a great one, guys, and we'll talk to you later.